Hello and welcome back to another episode of Ruining Your Childhood.
Welcome back to another episode of Ruining Your Childhood, one sculpt at a time. Today we're going to be heading into the grimy alleyways of Springfield to create one of the slimiest, burnt out and hygienically neglected characters the Simpsons have ever given us. And of course I'm talking about the one and only Krusty the Clown. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with Krusty the Clown, he's basically what would happen if a washed-up talk show host dressed up as a birthday party clown and survived merely on gas station hot dogs and ciggies. So you can imagine this character is living up to his name, Crusty. Anyway, now that we have the rough structure of his head and his eye sockets in place, we could go ahead and fill up those eye sockets with some pre-baked eyes that I made off camera. Then we could go on to his lower eye bags. You can tell that this man hasn't had a full night of sleep since season 3, so we are going to be bulking up his lower bags quite a bit. So once I had a couple juicy worms of clay wrapped underneath his eyes, I could go in with a ball stylus and a silicone sculpting tool to start smoothing all that out. Once I got those lower lids all smoothed out, I go ahead and use the pointy end of that silicone sculpting tool to add some wrinkles and folds to make them look a little bit more weathered. Much like his lower lids, his upper lids are going to be getting a very similar treatment, except this time I'm going to be using a much thinner worm of clay. So once I had those wrapped around the upper part of the eye, I could go in with that same silicone sculpting tool to smooth that out and give it a little bit more detailing. And then we can move on to his upper eyebrow ridge. For this, we are going to be starting off with a large maggot of clay, laying this above the eyes. I'd then go around, blending it in, giving it a little bit more eyebrow shape. After giving it a vigorous rub down with my dirty phalanges, we have ourselves some eyebrows and we could go on to the nose. Now, because Krusty is a clown, he is going to have a clown nose, so for this I went ahead and started off with a little dink nug of clay that we're going to round out into a little ball, do a little size check, and then we could go ahead and set that aside so we could work on his upper lip. I went ahead and prefabricated this little upper lip section here. It's just a circle that I smashed flat and then I cut it in half. Once I applied it to the face and blended that in, I could go in with my silicone sculpting tool to kind of push in the side parts. He is going to be having that classic mid-laugh smile that we all know and love. So after a little bit of refinement, I am going to be popping his nose back on to make sure that we're having our proportions correct, and we could go in and start actually giving his lip a little bit more of a lip look. Once I was happy with the basic structure of that upper lip, we could then go in with a silicone sculpting tool to give it a little bit more detail and start actually forming out the shape of his smile. Happy with the upper lip, so now we can start building out those the cheek sections. This I'm just taking a couple maggots worth of clay, sticking those onto the side of the mouth, blending those in. I went ahead and did the exact same thing for the other side, and then I'm going to go ahead and pause on the lips and start working on the intersection of his mouth. I am going to just be cutting out a little chunk of clay here, and then we can just resume what we were doing down below by taking another worm of clay, wrapping it around that little sliced out section I made, cutting off the little excess bit, then go in and blend that seam in together to make one seamless lip. I then could go ahead and start introducing some texture to his upper lip by taking a very small ball stylus and start to poke in these little holes to help indicate some stubble and some worn out texture. I was pretty happy with how the mouth was looking so far, so we could go ahead and move on to his teeth. I went ahead and made these teeth off camera by pre-baking some translucent clay. I really like using translucent clay when it comes to teeth because it kind of already has a natural yellowed look, and for this character that's perfect because he's addicted to nicotine, let me tell you. I do add a couple teeth to the back row. They'll kind of just magically appear, but for now we're going to be working on his tongue. For this I just took a flattened out piece of clay that I shaped into a tongue shape, slicing off the back end, giving it a crease down the middle, sticking that tongue to the back of the throat. I then could go in with a small ball stylus to kind of push down the clay in the back to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. And at this point I was pretty happy with how the head was looking, so we could go ahead and go around with a variety of different sculpting tools, just adding some textures and details. I was pretty happy with how textured his face was looking, and I was thinking I was done, but it was at this point I realized I forgot his ears, so we're going to be adding those real quick. So went ahead and took a ball of clay, flattening that, slicing it in half, and then take those little slices and give them a little bit more of an ear shape before sticking those onto the side of the head. Then I could finish him off by using a very small ball stylus to give him some inner ear details. And with that, his head is complete, so it's off to the oven. And with his head back from the oven and fully cooled down, I went ahead and drilled a small hole in the bottom, that way I could stick this piece of armature wire into it. And with his spine intact, we could then go ahead and start building up his body. Now his body is actually kind of built up into two sections. It's this first little wedge section, and then he has a big round belly, so we're going to be sticking a ball onto the bottom of that. The white clay that I'm using for this is called Super Sculpting Ultralight. The reason I'm using this instead of tinfoil is I just don't like using tinfoil. I feel like it's really hard to work with, so this gives me a little bit more flexibility. But with his body all smoothed out and looking good, we could go ahead and start adding his arms and legs. We're just sticking some pieces of armature wire into it, and then we could go ahead and stick it in the oven real quick just to make sure everything gets locked into place. Now that we have the body baked, I'm not too worried about crushing it, so we could go ahead and start sleeving up his arms and legs. Starting off with his arms, I am going to be coating that armature wire in a nice thick layer of that liquid Sculpey. Rolling out a gray Tootsie Roll, I could then slide that down that piece of armature wire. I then go up and down the arm doing a little pinch and tug technique until the arm's a little bit more tapered, looking a little bit more arm-like. I then could go ahead and blend all that clay into the rest of the body.
If you're liking the video so far, please hit the like and subscribe button.
But with the clay all blended in and smoothed out, I went ahead and did a little bit more of an arm refinement, and now we could go ahead and work on the sleeves of his shirt. I rolled out a few thin strips of clay, wrapping it around his arm, cutting off all the excess bits with my X-Acto knife. And with the sleeves all trimmed high and tight, I could go in and blend that sleeve into the rest of the body as well. And as for the other side, you guessed it, I'm going to be doing the exact same thing, starting with wrapping it, then slicing it, then blending it. I then go in with a sculpting tool to add some wrinkles from his armpit, but with that and a little bit more detailing, the sleeves and arms are complete, so we could go ahead and work on his collar. For the collar, I also take a very thin piece of clay, putting that around the neck, making sure it's upward. I blend in the lower section. Once I had that blended all the way around, I could then go around pulling the top portion down to make that collar. Use my X-Acto knife to slice off these little angle bits here, and with that we're looking pretty good, and we can go ahead and stop there and move on to his bow tie. I start off by cutting out a little oval shape of clay, then I follow that up by slicing out these little triangle bits. Pretty happy with the shape, so we could go ahead and stick that to the front of his collar. Took a small nug of clay, sticking that to the center to make up the knot, and then from there I could go in with a variety of different sculpting tools to add some wrinkles and folds extending from the knot, and also a few on the knot itself. And with that we have ourselves a little bow tie, and we could go ahead and pause on the shirt and move down to his pants. Much like the arms, I am going to be doing pretty much the exact same thing by coating the armature wire in some liquid Sculpey, then sticking on these rolled out bits of clay. After I got those into the position, I just go around reforming the leg to make them a little bit more leg-like, and then also blending the clay in. I was pretty happy with how those legs were looking, so I'm going to go in with a silicone sculpting tool to start adding some wrinkles extending from his crotchal region, and also some behind the knees and by the knees, and pretty much anywhere where a wrinkle would be. And with his pants all wrinkled up, we could go ahead and pause again and move back up to his shirt to add the lower section of that. For this, I'm just gonna be wrapping around a long strip of flattened out clay, slicing off the excess, then blending that into his torso. Once I had that clay blended into the upper section, we have ourselves a shirt, and he is looking pretty good, but I do wanna add some texture to his shirt by taking the grippy part of my X-Acto knife, and we're just gonna be rubbing that over top of the surface of the shirt. This just gives a little bit more visual interest in the end, but for now, we could go ahead and pause there and pop in the oven for another bake. Now that we got the body back and baked, we could go ahead and start working on his hands and feet. For this, we're just gonna be taking a ball of clay, and then we're just gonna be smashing that onto the little end wrist bits there. Do a little bit of refining to give him almost a mitten shape before blending that clay into the rest of the wrist. Once I'm finished blending that and smoothing it out, we got ourselves a nice base that we could start adding fingers to. And for those fingers, I went ahead and took my X-Acto knife, slicing in these 3 little fingers. And once I had his fingers sliced out, I could then use my fingers to shape his fingers to look more like fingers. Just doing a little pinch and twist technique, just a little pinch and twist. With his fingers looking shapely, we could go ahead and move on to his thumb. For this, I just rolled out a little noodle of clay that I sliced in half, applying that to the lower palm of the hand where the thumb would be. Then I just go ahead and blend that in. Use a wedge-shaped sculpting tool to start adding some of that inner hand detailing. And with that, his hands are looking pretty good, but Krusty is wearing some gloves, so we are going to be adding this little section to the back end of the hand, wrapping it around, and with that, we have one of Krusty's hands. I went ahead and made the other glove off camera just because he was made the exact same way. So with that, we could go ahead and move down and work on his shoes. Start off with a dank nug of clay that I'm just going to be rolling out into this kind of clown shoe shape. Really not too much to say here, except I'm just trying to make it look like a clown shoe. But once I was happy with the shape here, I'm gonna be slicing off the back end, nearly slicing off the tip of my finger. Then I could take that little shoe bit and stick that onto the front of his leg. After blending that in, making sure it is nice and tight to the front of his leg, went ahead and mirrored the exact same thing for the other side, and with that we got ourselves a couple of little clown feet. At this point I thought I was done with the sculpting process, but then I realized his pants have these almost like flower petals that go around the bottom here, so we are going to be adding those, and for this I just took these little cutout bits of clay, sticking those onto the bottom and then blending them in. Once I have successfully blended all of those in, we are done with the sculpting process, and so we could pop it in the oven for its final bake. And with Krusty the Clown back from the oven and looking as baked as he does in the cartoon, it is time to start the painting process. I always like to start the painting process off by giving the entire sculpture a base coat of its initial base coat colors, and we are going to be starting with his feet first. I made this color by mixing blood red and a little bit of orange red to get this kind of vermilion color. After finishing the shoes and letting them completely dry, I can move on to the pants. I got this color by mixing intermediate green and white, and for those of you that are curious, the paints that I'm using are Vallejo. Well, except for one color, I use a different brand, but we'll get into that later. But once I had those pants completely covered and also got those little flower bits on the end, we can move on to the shirt. And speaking of other brands, this is probably the worst paint that I've used in a long time. It's by Master's Touch. I don't know, it's so glossy. It looked terrible. I was really struggling with this color. I mean, the color's perfect, it's just the glossiness that was taking me out. But I do cut it back with a matte finishing spray, which actually helped a lot. So in the end, it ends up being fine, but at the start, man, woo. Anyway, now that my rant is over and his shirt is done, we can move on to his arms. Now, because he is a Simpsons character, his arms are naturally going to be yellow. So for this color, I mixed up a bit of sun yellow with this other color called dark flesh to get this magical Simpsons yellow. And after surprisingly only a couple coats of that, we can move on to his bow tie, which is going to be a blue. And for this, I mixed up a color called magic blue with a little bit of white to get this light blue. Then it's on to his gloves. For his gloves are obviously going to be white, but specifically the color that I'm using is called dead white, and I am not entirely sure why it's called that. It's pretty much the exact same color as my other white, so I wonder why they did that. I need to put them side by side to actually see the difference probably, but his gloves are now white, and now it is onto his head. And now some of you guys might be confused why I'm painting his head yellow instead of white, and that's because I am going to be painting it with a base coat of what his head would look like underneath all the clown makeup, and then later on I am going to be adding the clown makeup on top. So just like the arms, I am going to be doing a couple coats of this 50-50 split of the sun yellow and dark flesh. Once I had the head thoroughly coated, we could then move on to the mouth section. For this, I am going to be using a color called bronze brown. It actually happened to be like the perfect color for his little lip section, especially when it dries because it's a little bit darker. But with his lip and head done, we could go ahead and move on to his nose, and for this it just gets that blood red. I do also use that same exact red for the tongue, and then as for the inside of the mouth, I mixed up that blood red with a little bit of black to make almost a dark maroon tone, and then I just go ahead and coat that in. As for his eyes, I am going to be using a color called bone white. I feel like this gives a little bit more of a natural look to the eyes instead of just using straight up white. But with that, all the base coats are now complete, and we can start moving on to the actual fun section of the paint job, and that's making him look slightly more realistic. Now he obviously needs some clown makeup, so I am going to be using this little makeup sponge here dipped in some of that bone white. I'm just going to be dabbing this over top of the face. Now the reason why I initially painted him yellow instead of white is that way I can have some of the skin showing through the paint to make it look like it's just kind of sloppily put on. As for the mouth section, I am going to be using that exact same bone white, but I am going to be watering it down quite a bit and just painting it over the top. This is going to help pull in the upper section of the face and the mouth together. But now that we have his face paint completed, we could go ahead and start making him look a little bit more alive and worn by adding a red wash over top of his face, really focusing on the cracks and folds, making sure it seeps into all those little cracks and details. This really helps make it pop and looks a little bit more realistic. I also use that same wash to go over top of the eyes to make them a little more bloodshot. Now to make Crusty look a little bit more crusty, I'm going to be going over his lower eye bags with a blue wash. I also follow that up with over top of his mouth. This is going to give the appearance of stubble or kind of that 5 o'clock shadow look, and also just making his lower bags look a little more bruised. At this point, I just go around the face, reintroducing some of that red wash and blue wash just into sections that I feel like needed to be a little bit more prominent. And with that, I was pretty happy with how his head was looking so far, so we can go ahead and move on to his nose. Went ahead and mixed up a black wash that I'm going to be going over top of his nose and tongue. After letting that fully dry, go ahead and go over both of those with a pink wash, and then we can move down to his shirt. Now I am going to be keeping his clothing quite simple, so I am just going to be going over top of the shirt with a black wash. After letting it sit there for a few seconds, I take this little cloth and dab off the excess bits. Then use that same exact black to go over top of his gloves to bring out the detail in that. And then once everything fully dried, I can then go back over top of the shirt with a lighter purple of that initial purple, just to really bring out the texturing that I had before. As for Krusty's arms, I am going to be doing a dry brushing of a lighter yellow over top. The color I'm using is just that sun yellow. And once I let that fully dry, I then could go in with that same exact red wash that I used for the face to kind of highlight a certain section of the arm, starting behind the gloves and underneath the sleeves, and then extending into like the pit of the elbow. I was pretty happy with how the arms were looking, so we can move on to his tie. For this, I'm just going to be using a blue wash. The blue I'm using is that magic blue mixed with a little bit of black. Really just kind of focus on those little creases and folds. Then we can move on to the pants. Pants, just like the shirt, are going to be getting a once over with a black wash, really letting it sink down into all those little details and wiping it off. There's not too much detail on the shoes, but I am going to be using that same black wash to kind of dirty them up. Then it's on to his eyes. Now in the cartoon, obviously, he just has a couple of little black dots, but not around here. I like to add a little bit of color to his eyes, so I'm going to be making them brown. So I start off by just using this saddle brown, and then I use a little bit of a lighter brown on the inside, and then I finish it off with a black pupil. As for his hair, I am going to be using a technique that I've never used before. It's taking a piece of yarn, and then you just kind of comb it out until you get these long strands. Like I said, I've never tried this before, but I actually end up really liking how it looks. So I'm definitely going to be using this more in the future, especially when it comes to creating colored hair. It gives me a lot more variety, so I'm excited for that. But after doing that a few times with a few strands, I have this nice tuft of hair. So now I could take some of this fabric fusion and start gluing it onto the head. Fabric fusion is a fabric glue, but it happens to work pretty well for gluing hair to heads of sculptures, so kind of why I'm using that. But once I get that on, I just kind of lay that onto the back of the head. Once I let that thoroughly dry, we can then add the side sections. I am trying to use the glue to kind of match the hairline a bit, and then all I do is I take the hair, push it over top, and let it sit there for a few seconds. The hair I added was a tad bit too long, so I am going to be going in with some scissors to give it a little bit more shape, and then I go in with my fingers to refine those shapes a little bit more. And of course, we can't forget the little tuft of hair that goes on the top of the head. That is the most important for any balding man, his little top tuft. And how I got this little top tuft is I just took those little snippings that I had earlier and I just applied those to the top. And with that and a little bit of off-camera detailing, we're onto those JCPenney glamour shots. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and also leave a comment down below of who you would like to see me sculpt next. I'll see you next time.